Hello Year 1 and welcome to your science lesson. I hope you've really enjoyed starting to grow some of your flowers and plants and seeds from home. How have you been getting on? At the end of this lesson, I'll be showing you how to keep a diary of what's been happening. But today, we're first of all going to learn about wild plants. Every day I try and go on a little walk and there are lots of wild plants around. Some of them I don't know what they are, but some of them I do. So let's learn all about wild plants today. So the aim of today's lesson is you can identify and name common wild plants, and you can gather information to answer a question. You'll be able to find plants in the wild and identify them by a picture. Hopefully say the name of some wild plants that you can see, and collect information and use it to answer a question. So wild plants. A wild plant is one that grows by itself. It's where the seed has dropped, where it's fallen from either a bird dropping or by the wind, and it starts to grow. It doesn't need to be planted. It doesn't even need to be cared for as it grows. If a wild plant grows where it's not wanted, some people in their garden think it's a weed. So let's have a look at some wild plants. Do you recognise any of these? I know I do, but not all of them. So these ones are called dandelions. These have bright yellow flowers and fluffy white seed heads. Some people like to blow the seeds and make a wish. Have you seen a dandelion before? These are daisies. These have white petals with bright yellow centres, and they grow in the grass. Sometimes people use them to make daisy chains. That's quite fiddly. You have to use the edge of your fingernail, but they're good fun to make. Have you seen a daisy before? Buttercups. These have shiny yellow petals and feathery leaves. You might have played a game where you hold one under someone's chin to see if it shines yellow. Buttercup. A clover. Clover has white or pink flower heads. It has leaves in groups of 3. Some people think it's very lucky to find a 4-leaf clover. If you look at the picture here, children, this is a 4-leaf clover. There's 4 leaves attached here. I've never been lucky enough to find one. Have you? Nettles. They have jagged, prickly leaves and tiny green-white flowers. Be really careful not to touch them because they will give you a nasty sting. Ouch! If you do get stung, you have to try and find a big dock leaf and spit on it, and the spit and the leaf rubbed into your nettle sting really helps. And I have actually eaten nettle soup before. I went to my friend's house for lunch and she'd been out early that morning, and wearing a pair of rubber gloves, she'd picked the tips out of the tops of the nettle and then made some soup with it. It made my mouth feel quite tingly. I've never eaten it since. Brambles. These have very prickly stems and white flowers and can grow very big. In the autumn, brambles grow blackberries. Have you ever picked a blackberry on an autumn walk? I know I have. Dog roses. These are nothing to do with dogs. These have long, thorny stems and sweet-smelling pale pink flowers. In the autumn, they grow big red berries called hips. So yes, you can see they've got nothing to do with dogs. Dog roses. Ivy. It has heart-shaped or 3-pointed leaves and it is an evergreen. That means it stays green all year round, and ivy climbs on trees and walls, or it can creep along the ground. I know in my garden there is a lot of ivy. Does yours have ivy in? So your work today is, if it's not raining, I'd like you to go on a wild plant hunt, either in your garden or maybe go to your nearest park, or save this for the weekend. So go for a walk and see if you can find any of these wild plants. If you see any of these plants, make a mark on the activity sheet. If you see another, make another mark. This is called a tally. If you spot other wild plants, you can record them on the back of your sheet. Now I try and go for a walk every day after school. And on the walk I go to in the woods, there is lots and lots of wild garlic. And you can actually smell it as I start to walk near it. So on the back of my sheet, I would then write the word wild garlic. I would draw a picture of it, and I would put a tally every time I saw it. Now the way the tally marks is you do 4 dashes and then a line across. That means when you're counting it, it's easy to count in groups of 5. And we're good at counting in 5s, aren't we, year 1? And there's the sheet again with all the plants that we've looked at down the side. So count up the marks of your tally and write the total in the number box at the end. So can you see how many are here? There are 5 here because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then add the 1 makes 6. So you could put the number 6. And you can see which plant you saw the most times and which plant did you find was the most common. Now, when you've done that, I'm going to show you this website. This is from the Woodland Trust here, which is a fantastic website. And this has an amazing part of the website called Wildflowers, which is up here. Can you see? So you can scroll down, just like I've shown you, and there might be other wild plants that you want to find out about. And this has got loads. Look, there's dog roses. We've learnt about those. Foxgloves. Herb Robert. Never heard of that one before. A hop. Let's see if they've got, oh, I love that one, Lily of the Valley. You might see some of those out. There's the daisy. Let's keep going down. There we go, wild garlic. So that's what I see. So if I click on that, look, it tells me a delicious sign of the old. Wild garlic is also known as ramsons. Look for them in shady woods where they coat the woodland floor in spring. That's where I've seen it. And then it tells me all about the wild garlic, okay, and where to find it. So this website is really good. If you do find other wild plants and you want to find out about it, then you can look at this. Look, and you could make wild garlic into pesto, which is where you blitz it with pine nuts and you can put it on pasta. That's exactly what I see when I go on my walk. So this is a brilliant website, the Woodland Trust. So that's where you can do your extra research. Now going back to what you did from the end of last week's lesson, which was growing your beans and plants, I want you to have a really good look because it's been 7 days since you've had a start of that. And I'd like you to record in your English books what's happening. Maybe start this at the back of your book so we can keep a diary. And you need to write the date, draw what has happened, and write a sentence about it. So here I have written today's date, Tuesday, the 12th of May, 2020. And your learning objective is I can keep a plant diary. Now in here, you're going to draw a small picture in pencil crayon of exactly what has happened. So it might be that nothing has happened, so you would just draw your compost, or it might be you've got a little shoot starting to appear. So draw exactly what you can see. And then here, you're going to write one sentence about it. So you might want to say, I can see a small shoot coming out of the top of the soil, full stop. It might be that you can't see anything, so you'd put, I cannot see anything. It might be that you can measure something, so you have to write exactly what you can see. So you're going to draw a picture. So today's lesson is to go on a wild plant hunt. You'll need to print that sheet off if you can. Go in your garden. Remember, those nettles can sting you. Or save this for when you can go out for a walk with your family. You might want to do some extra research on that Woodland Trust website if you see things that you're not sure what they are. And then at the back of your English books, you're going to keep a plant diary. And you can do this however you want. But I would like to see some sort of little picture and one sentence. So children, have fun investigating outside. Remember, try and save it till it's dry. And don't touch those nettles because they sting. Have fun, children. Enjoy your wild plant hunt. Bye.